I think audio is one of the most overlooked parts of a desk setup. So when Edifier sent me the new MR4.5s, I wanted to see if they could finally replace the monitor speakers I've been using every day. So for the last few weeks, I've been using them as my everyday desktop speakers to see if they could earn a permanent spot on my desk. Just a heads up, Edifier did send these over for review, but everything you're about to hear is based on my own experience using them. So what exactly is the Edifier MR4.5? These are powered studio monitor speakers designed for setups. That means they're made for near field listening, where you're sitting close to the speakers instead of across the room. The goal here is more balance and an accurate sound, instead of heavily boosting the bass or treble like some consumer speakers do. The MR4.5 sits between the MR4 and the MR5 in Edifier's lineup, so it gives you a step up in size, power, and features without jumping all the way to the larger and more expensive model. I haven't personally used the MR4 or the MR5, so this isn't a comparison. I'm just showing what it was like for me using the MR4.5 as everyday desktop speakers. So inside the box, you got everything you need to get started. That includes the active and passive speakers, the power cable, a 2.5 meter S cable to connect the two speakers, a 3.5 millimeter aux cable, a 3.5 millimeter to RCA cable, and the documentation. One thing I did appreciate was the length of the included 2.5 meter S cable. It gave me enough flexibility to actually move one speaker from my desk over to my bookshelf next to my turntable, so whenever I wanted to fill up more of my office with music. So first impression, I really like the look of these speakers. Edifier did send me the white version, but they're also available in black if that better matches your setup. The MR4.5 not only looks great, but it also feels really well built. It uses an MDF cabinet with a plastic front baffle. Honestly, once I picked them up, that wasn't something I thought about anymore. They feel really solid, sturdy, and the weight gives you that confidence that they're very well made. Each speaker features a 4-point-inch woofer, hence the name, paired with a 1-inch silk dome tweeter that's recessed into a waveguide to help improve sound dispersion. Each driver has its own dedicated amplifier. The woofer is powered by a 30-watt amp, while the tweeter gets its own 10-watt amp. Across the pair, that's 4 drivers powered by 4 amplifiers, delivering a total of 80 watts RMS. Edifier also raised the MR4.5 with a frequency response of 52 Hz to 40 kHz. We'll talk about how that translates into real-world sound quality a little later in the review. I do recommend picking up a pair of angled speaker stands if you're planning to use these on the desk, since the speakers sit fairly low. I wanted to aim them more towards my ears instead of my chest, and I think they make a big difference. They're not required, but if you're trying to get the best experience from the MR4.5s, I think they're a worthwhile upgrade. Starting around front, everything you use most often is right where you would expect it. The multifunction knob controls your volume, powers the speaker on and off, and lets you switch between music, monitor, and custom sound modes. On the other side, you'll find a 3.5mm aux input and a headphone output, making it really quick and easy to connect another device or plug in a pair of headphones when you need it. Checking out the back of the speaker is where you're going to find the rest of the connections. You get the balanced XLR and TRS inputs, RCA inputs, the Bluetooth pairing button, high and low frequency adjustment knobs, the speaker output, and the power connection. I found myself using the balanced TRS inputs the most because I had these connected to my Focusrite. For editing videos and more critical listening, this ended up being my favorite way to use the MR4.5 speakers. I also liked keeping my turntable connected through the RCA inputs, so switching over to listen to records was really quick and easy. And if you just want to connect the MR4.5 directly to your computer, Edifier includes a 3.5mm to RCA cable in the box, so you don't have to buy anything extra to get started. Bluetooth was just as easy, pairing was quick, reconnecting was reliable, and I ended up using it more than I expected for streaming music from my phone. The MR4.5 also supports LDAC and high-res audio wireless, so if you have a compatible device, you can get higher quality Bluetooth audio than standard Bluetooth. One thing I really liked was how easy it was to switch between my different audio sources. Whether I'm streaming music over the Bluetooth, editing through my Focusrite, or listening to my turntable, everything worked really seamlessly. And once everything was connected, I really didn't have to think about them again. Edifier also included the Connex app, and getting started with this app was pretty simple. After pairing your speaker with your phone, the app found them quickly and connected without any issues. From here, you can adjust most of the speaker's settings. You can switch between music, monitor, and custom sound modes. For most of my everyday listening, I preferred music mode. When it was time to edit the videos, I've switched over to monitor mode because I wanted more accurate sound. Custom mode is where you can fine-tune the sound to your liking using the built-in EQ. You also get acoustic space controls, which helps optimize the speakers based on where you place them in the room. And if you plan on adding a subwoofer later, there's also a low-cut filter. You'll also find the desktop control and power saving settings for a little extra customization. Overall, I think the Connex app does exactly what it needs to do. It found the speakers quickly, stayed connected reliably, and it made it easy to customize the MR4.5 without reaching behind the speakers. It's not really the most feature-packed app out there, but it works well. Now let's check out how the MR4.5s actually sounded. For this test, I used different types of music so I could hear how they handled the bass, vocals, faster tracks, and higher frequency detail. Starting with the faster track, the speakers kept up well. The sound stayed clean, and I didn't feel like everything was blending together or getting muddy. Now with the bass heavy music, there was enough punch for my desk setup, but this is not like a deep room shaking bass. If you want that extra low impact for movies or gaming or bass heavy music, as I mentioned before, you may want to add a subwoofer. Vocals was one of the strongest parts for me. Voices really sounded natural, and instrumentals like guitars and pianos came through very clearly without feeling harsh.
It feels like ages so long. All I can think about is where we went wrong. You can be cold sometimes, don't even know you sometimes. Am I the only one who's trying to hold on? Ooh, serves me right for being way up in your space when I should give you some time.
The highs were also clear. Small details in the track came through pretty nice, but they never really felt sharp or uncomfortable to listen to. I also tested gaming, which I really enjoy doing, and this was another area where the speakers were like a huge upgrade over my monitor speakers. The dialogue was easier to hear, the sound effects had more space, and the games felt more immersive overall. So the big takeaway for me is the clarity. The MR4.5s gave me cleaner sound, better separation, and enough bass for everyday desktop use. At around $249, I think the MR4.5 is priced well for what you're getting. Sitting between the MR4 and the MR5 in Edifier's lineup, I think it offers a really nice balance of sound quality, features, and connectivity for a desktop setup. So if you're looking to upgrade your desk setup and you've overlooked your audio, I think the MR4.5 is absolutely worth considering. If you want to learn more or pick up a pair for yourself, I'll have links in the description below. So if you're looking for another way to improve your desk setup, check out this video right here. Like if this helps, subscribe if you're new. Spend smarter, build better, and I'll see you in the next one.